but I will have it after the break.
It's minty and delicious.
Thank you very much. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Derek Brandeo, Frank the Tank, Sammy McKee with you for the next 2 hours. Yeah, I got a lot of energy right now.
It's happening.
Well, and terrific month by the Toronto Maple Leafs, closing it out with another big win against Detroit. And yet, I got bamboozled this morning on the morning show.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
You did.
So this is how pissed off I am right now.
Classic negative Kyper.
I've never used bamboozled in a sentence.
So you must.
I've never uttered that word in my life. I'm not even sure what it means.
I think you're using it right.
But boy, oh boy, did that social media PR machine over at Sportsnet
Wow.
just absolutely bury me today.
You know,
On a terrific month by the Toronto Maple Leafs, on a terrific run by Mitch Marner. And I'm trending right now because they took one little tiny clip off a morning show hit I did with Ailish and Justin Cuthbert.
Yeah.
And now I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. Scram, beat it.
How are you going to take all this positive juju the Leafs have going and come out there and talk about 2 years from now, summer, negative? I mean,
did anybody hear it, or are we just going? We're just basing what like social media is now absolutely killing me.
Some people don't like to do radio at all because of the idea of getting radioed, right? Where they grab like a little snippet and they're like, "Yeah,
I got
he
radioed.
did say that.
I got radioed.
I
got radioed.
I know these guys behind the scenes don't think you did. I think you got radioed.
Listen, I mean, you said it. Like, you said those things about Matthews.
Okay, well, like there's a lot of people right now still don't know what we're talking about, so let's kind of clarify it. I did a radio hit this morning. We talked Leafs.
I hope
we
so.
talked Marner, and then Ailish and Justin. And for the record, I want to go and make it clear.
Mm-hmm.
Have the utmost respect for both of them.
Yeah.
Just doing their jobs.
Yeah.
They ain't who I got a problem with right now.
Okay.
Okay. So we go through the process of Leafs, Marner, records, blah, 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 blah.
Like what we're going to do in 5 minutes?
And then it was, Matthews, is getting going here, but like he hasn't looked like Austin Matthews, which we've had discussions on.
Mm-hmm. We have.
Ailish asked me, what do you think's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And just from an experience, a speculative opinion, I said there could be a number of reasons, including, the pressure of coming back off a 60-goal season.
Sure.
Possibly, maybe it's a conditioning thing. Maybe he didn't train as hard. Maybe he doesn't have the legs that he had.
We're all just spitballing here.
More spitballing. And then I brought up the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led into, do you think he's leaving or staying? And I gave Matthews a ton of credit for answering it once and then putting it to bed.
Yeah.
But I got to answer the question. I cannot not answer the question. I was asked a question. I answered it.
Yeah.
And
first off, no one should be held to anything that happens before 7 a.m.
Yeah, thank you. It was 7:05, I think.
Okay. Damn it. 7:10 then.
So I said, I'm with everybody else. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
And I think the only ones that really know are probably Austin and the agent, maybe the parents, and that's it. I think he's handled it beautifully. But from the people that I've talked to, there's a concern that he could leave, and that was it.
Kyper says Matthews gone.
All they did was just cut and paste that one little sentence.
Yeah.
And trending now.
Fire starter. Kyper trying to stir it
right?
up. Yeah.
It's like I'm Al Pacino in Scarface. I'm the bad guy.
Listen, I got a couple thoughts on this.
All right, let's have it, Sammy.
First thought is, is that a lot of the reason people were upset about it is because of the timing, right?
Right.
Of
Well,
how
there's
well the
no
Leafs are
reason to
playing.
have this conversation now.
I also think a lot of Leaf fans, myself included, are absolutely petrified of this conversation.
Yes, there's
And
defensiveness and sensitivity about it.
Listen,
Yes.
I am in that camp. I think about it more than I should. I think about it almost once a game. You know, like it's just like he does something sweet. I'm like, oh God, you know, it's not that far away that we're talking about
different
this.
Kit, yeah.
And I think a lot of anger is, first of all, like I said, the timing. You know, typical Toronto media.
Can we have something nice?
And the fact that a lot of people are nervous about it, and they're probably projecting a little bit. So those are my two big thoughts.
Oh
on
my
it,
gosh! And like I'm just, it's kind of fun every once in a while just to read these. But to your point, everybody's sitting there going, "Why bring that up?" It's whatever. And then there's one that I read, and I think it kind of speaks to you, where they just. There's a few people that say that this is from Corey Landsberg, and
Good dude.
yeah, really good guy. And we know him over on the TSN side. But he says the Dubonites are crying immediately trying to discredit what Kyper said about Matthews. Just shows how fragile and insecure they are.
The Dubonites.
What are we going to go to war with our fan base
No,
here?
I don't think. Listen, I don't think.
But we're just talking here. We're not picking a fight.
No.
The Dubonites.
Dubonites is a bit
I don't
accusatory.
think it was just.
Are you fragile on this conversation?
Buddy, I am a Leaf fan my whole life. Of course I'm fragile.
Everything's great.
I've been beaten down by this franchise for legitimately my entire life. Of course I'm fragile. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just people that are fans of Dubas that were pissed off, Kyper. It was pretty much a wide sweeping
which is why we can't give this too much time, because there's implications off last night's hockey game. But what does that mean for a playoff team? Like, is the team better? There's current stuff. I understand why you had to answer the question. I understand why we're talking about it now.
Yeah, and I think, but there's also that reminder too, because Matthew Tkachuk's going into Calgary, right? And that's going to be an emotional game, 100% for sure.
Think they could get Huberdeau for Matthews? I'm kidding.
So, but I get it, and I did not anticipate or go down that path. I was led to it. I answered the question, and
leading the witness.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Good by me, Kyper.
Sammy, you good?
100%. But I will say, I woke up this morning around 7:30, and I looked at my phone, and that's the first thing I saw. I was like, oh, my God, Kyper, what have we done? So I was one of the Dubonites at first, a little pissed off. But,
Yeah, it's not like they were like, what'd you think of the power play? And he was like, Matthews to the Kings.
Oh, man,
Hey,
honestly, though, Kyper.
He could stay.
Hey.
He could go.
I don't think he knows. That's why I think it's like debating what the weather's going to be like
this morning.
May 17th of 2025.
That's what I said
So
this
what are we
morning.
debating? Nobody knows.
Can I say something here, too, though? That this is why it's fun to talk about this team. Because people care. People are passionate. People want to
Love the passion.
People want to tell you to F off when you say something that they disagree with. People are passionate about it. And listen, I don't have to have your mentions today, Kyper. So it's a different story for me.
You know how I found out that Kyper said something reportedly controversial? Is I got a DM that said, you and Kyper are embarrassing. Just waking up. I'm like, what the hell did I do now?
Oh, my God. I love it. Oh, I love it.
All right, let's go embarrass ourselves.
The one consistent thing is we solve nothing after 2 hours every day.
We do it really well, though.
Really
We're
well.
great at solving that.
Really well. Okay, let's move on. Where do you guys want to start? Just the overall conclusion to an incredible finish for the month of November. Marner's streak. Matthews looking like scoring
Looking
goals
better. Looking better.
in the middle of the ice like he did all of last season.
Yep.
Where do you want to go, JB?
You know, I think it's let's talk about the big picture. That game last night, I thought that they weren't awesome, but I think it's really encouraging that the Leafs have a team that can look not awesome and still win on the road. Like they didn't give up a whole ton. They hung around. They got some finishing guys. That's the formula for this team, is just play defensive enough that you get some chances and your guys finish better than the other team. Their goaltender plays well. That's the formula for this Leafs team to win when they're not at their best. Good sign.
I would say that I was underwhelmed by the Detroit Red Wings, even though they outshot the
That team
Leafs.
stinks.
Well, it was a big number by the end. I think they were up over 40 by the end of the game. But to me, generally, they never really seemed that dangerous. I don't know. I guess
They had the puck way more than the Leafs.
They did, but it just seemed like a common trend that we've been talking about. They're on the outside.
I'm looking at the last, few games, which even goes back to in New Jersey, and Nico Hischier back when New Jersey was in Toronto and beat them in overtime. That's the last time I saw the other team's best player
play at their best.
Sorry
to say that, yeah.
And then you go into some places and Kaprizov in Minnesota, they did a pretty good job of shutting him down. Last night, Dylan Larkin, a few of those guys, frustrated.
Yeah.
Now, are they having nights off, or are the Leafs doing a good job of taking away their time and space? Because I gotta give the credit to the Leafs and their attention to detail defensively.
I definitely think it's a sample size thing. They're like a game or two and you're not sure. Once they get on a run, it's been however many games they've been playing well now, you start to go, okay, they must be doing something good, as a group to slow down the other team's best players. Should we go to Sheldon for his initial take on his overview of the game?
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, I thought, this obviously was not our best game of the trip. For sure, credit to Detroit. They came at us hard and made life hard on us to get out of our zone in particular, but I thought, obviously, our goaltending was outstanding again, as it has been all trip. And again, I thought we defended way too much because of our inability to break out, but I thought, especially in periods 2 and 3, we really didn't give up the big chance, a lot of shots in the perimeter, a lot of long shots. They obviously get a tip on one that goes in the third there, but by and large, I thought the guys did a good job of allowing Matt to see the puck and the way he's playing. If he's seen it, he's stopping it.
I think that's a pretty good takeaway. Didn't allow the big chance. I look at my fancy stats stuff that I get. Sportlogic sends me a little thing at the end of Leafs game, and Detroit had the puck in their zone way more than the Leafs had it in Detroit's end. But nothing was really that threatening, and so credit keeping these guys to the outside. I know it's a little bit boring, but it seems like something to me that's repeatable come playoffs. Do you see a team that is playing a style of hockey that would be more successful in playoffs?
100%.
Okay.
And I think that, to me, at times it isn't pretty and it's not wide open.
Not as fun, maybe.
But that's the type of hockey that can help you advance in the playoffs. And not sure where it goes. Well, I know where it goes physically. But it all depends on the team. And Leafs, particularly 4 guys, can beat you and outskill you on most nights.
Yeah.
And if teams want to go skill for skill, I think Toronto is at the advantage here. But if they want to get in their face, you want to slow them down, I haven't seen the last few teams trying to get in their face or throw off their rhythm or just upset them. They seem to want to go toe-to-toe with the Leafs, which works fine. Physically, it will get harder as the season progresses, and then we know what the first round is. Everybody finishes their checks.
Yeah,
playing against Tampa Bay, which is a lock.
But aside of that,
convinced, eh?
But aside of that, to answer your question, style of play is more conducive today for winning in the playoffs. Yes,
it's got to be some learning curve for the Big Four and the way that they play. They're so consistent. Like a guy like Willie Nylander, they had a stat last night that games this season with a point. And Mitch Marner was number 1 with a bullet, I think 22 of 23 games or 23 of 24 he's had a point in, which is... And second in the league's Willie Nylander. It's not like he has stretches of 5 games where he no-shows like he used to, like he used to be this roller coaster. He's just kind of steady right now, which is he's uncommon for his career. Every
time he's out there, I got to think that the other team's going, man, if I could just get off this ice without him burning me.
Well, and now with Matthews starting to play a little bit, did you think Matthews is better or just shot one in?
No, better.
Yeah.
I think a little better.
He had a couple more chances.
Still not
As dominant.
I mean, it used to be almost a given that.
Do you think he'll look like that for the Kings in 2 years? Sorry.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe at 15 large
Yeah,
a
15
year.
sheets a year.
We just haven't had enough looks of him dominating yet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought the last couple games, right? 5 points in 2 games, shoots a couple in. The reason I thought he shot that one in or was so decisive was the play before. He has the puck in the slot, and I don't know, did it just explode on his stick? For the turnover before it went the other way, and I was just like, what is?
That's happened more this year than it's happened in the first 5 years of his career.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's why when he came down the next time and he gets a puck in the slot, it was like he wasn't thinking, is someone else open?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, though, it is the 5-on-5 that he's struggled with. And now the last few games, he's getting production on it.
Yeah.
And that could be enough to turn the tide a little bit here.
For sure. I think that when Willie and Austin are together and Mitch and JT are together, you have two lines that play at different speeds. Like Tavares isn't fast and Marner can kind of slow the game down, like kind of pulling people to you. Matthews and Willie are kind of more straight away. I think that's got to be hard as a D-man when you step over the boards. You don't know if you're getting the line that you got to be up on or back on. I just think it creates some challenges for the D.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is the real threat now on the power play. You take a bad penalty. They've established enough in November to really have teams now saying, oh, God, do I want a penalty here? And how quickly can they go up 1-0 or a second goal within moments of a puck drop?
Yeah.
Face-offs, puck possession now. They're a really good face-off team.
They are.
Led by Tavares.
Tavares and Matthews are both really good.
Really good. So
Camp's
the moment you're in the offensive zone on the power play and now you're 2 seconds you're in a rotation, now you've got a team on their heels.
You're in trouble if you're killing that penalty and they got the puck with 2 minutes to go.
So let's go to Sheldon on his thoughts on what he sees both on the penalty kill and I think on the power play.
The one thing that stands out for me in terms of why we get on the right side of this game, and it's nice to see because it maybe wasn't the case on the trip, is that the special teams were really good. Penalty kill was excellent. I thought gave us a lot of momentum in life in the first period there. Come out of that kill, we score right away, and we get a power play, and we score right away there too. So I thought that little portion of the first period where we scored those 2 goals and get that penalty kill, was a huge part of the game, and then the PK was good the rest of the way too.
So can we have the Rasmus Sandin on the top power play conversation, boys? Or because boy, it looks way better.
Just pucks to the net.
They haven't scored a ton of them there, but now they got one and they're
it just pucks to the net. He's making the right decisions.
Yeah,
and he's got that ability that I don't think. I guess he does, but like just the filter to the net, sort of that back foot wrister that always kind of finds its way through. Plus, he seems to make the right decision on who to pass to at the top, which we always have an issue.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Like, he makes the right choice a lot of the time, to me.
The one thing, too, with Riley is I thought he had an over tendency to go to Matthews.
Yeah. Well, there's sometimes Matthews is like deep in the zone, not, the stick to the middle, not in a shooting spot, and he gets the puck, and it's like, well, what's he supposed to do with it there? Like, let him get in his spot, and I agree. A little bit overused there. But at the same time, there's other times where I'm like, it's Matthews, give it to Matthews. So I do get frustrated with Riley. One thing I did want to ask you, Kyper, I'm thinking about writing about this for tomorrow, is power play percentage around the league has gone up over the past 10 years pretty consistently. The Leafs are now 25% success rate on the power play.
Yeah.
They're 8th in the NHL with their power play.
And for the most part of last year, they were over 30.
Yeah.
And then it sunk like a stone.
Right now, like 8 teams are below 20% in the league, or 7 teams are below 20%. Yeah. Any thought on why power play success rate is higher? Just more coaching and video work and.
Yeah, nothing really stands out other than that. Teams are identifying where there's a breakdown, maybe quicker.
I also leave their star guys out more. I don't think
they take whatever they want.
But they didn't used to, did they 10 years ago?
I probably think that the second unit was a legitimate second unit, not breadcrumbs.
Like, I feel like, if I was ever on the second power play unit as a player, I remember getting on the ice at least. Like, now it's like not power play 2, power play who? Those guys don't get out there.
I think there's definitely a buy-in to that I'm making this much money. I have to produce offensively, and I will stay out here as long as I need to.
Yeah. Yeah, power play opportunities are up a little bit, but mostly just success rate is way up. So that's something I'm looking into right now.
The blue line, still not an issue. No Brody, no Morgan Riley, and now Hollowell seems to be kind of in a little bit of a nice soft spot here for him in the lineup.
Yeah. What an insane thing. They just had road games, and they can't hide these guys, and they're just humming along.
So let's listen to Austin Matthews on Hollowell. I find this interesting.
What's not to stand out? I mean, the Big Mac is he's the man. If I'm, I don't know. He's just he's solid back there. I told him after the game he's undefeated in the NHL so far, so it's definitely not a bad thing. So him, Mete, guys that have had to step in and play their role, and then obviously guys like G, Haller, Sandy, Timmy that are playing a lot more minutes back there are doing a good job for us, and I think it's just a full team effort all around, and it's obviously positive. And like I said, we just want to continue to play and continue to keep it going.
Think about what Hollowell would think. Hollywood would think after hearing a guy like Austin Matthews talk to him about that.
Big Mac
he's
the man.
Take your confidence level.
You went up to him
in the game.
During the game. Didn't he give him the puck, or was it him that dug the puck out, or he gave the puck?
Backhand.
What a sick league, sick assist, just rims it off the board.
Up the boards and let Austin Matthews
2 seconds later, it's in the net.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an apple. 81.
Yeah, just go to the ref. Back in the day, you used to be able to do that. Is there an open second assist? Or a 12 on there?
Listen, they're going to get TJ Brody back, hopefully in a week, maybe.
You heard anything on him?
This is the
2
thing
weeks.
with obliques. It's like,
I haven't.
He could be no better.
So, Sportsnet social media PR, I have not heard anything. So just
reports Brody
just leave that alone. But eventually, guys, they will get those guys back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to ask you now that where are you now with, like, how much help are they going to still look for?
Yeah.
How big of a guy they want? Where's Hall now? We've seen the worst of him. We've seen the best of him.
Justin Hall of Fame right now.
Where does this move forward for Justin Hall?
Boy, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what it is, but he is excellent right now.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I don't care.
Where
I don't
is
give
he
a crap.
come playoffs?
Yes.
He's a viable, important part of the decor. He is a 19-minute-a-night guy in the playoffs on a successful playoff team.
Dream scenario, he's on your bottom pair because you've upgraded.
No,
your
he's
top
not.
Two. He's eating popcorn. Is that what you're gonna get at here?
I don't know if he's still on the team.
No, man. What? $2 million. He's playing 21 minutes a night or something, and ably against top pairs or top lines.
I think if you can lock in Liljegren and Sandin for your third pair, and you have Brody and Riley, you have to upgrade
Geo and
blank. I don't listen. I give him full credit, and if he's brought his value up, but boys, you're gonna have to upgrade there for the Leafs. Now, are we talking about Sammy being satisfied with a 1 first round win, or are they trying to win here? Is there an opportunity to get to a Final Four Stanley Cup final?
I feel like you're giving an awful lot of credit to Sandy Liljegren right now to say that in playoffs, 6 foot and 5'10" D on the third pair, playing. Wouldn't you rather have Justin Hall out there shutting people down, or
100%? At the end of a game, who do I want on the ice more than Liljegren and Sandin? It's probably Hall and Giordano, or Hall and somebody else, because it's just more defensively responsible. Going the other way, no chance.
I think Sandin's trending, and I'm okay with Liljegren playing on my team in the top 6 in the playoffs.
I get Liljegren a lot of credit. I didn't see a path to where he is now, which is just he's solid. Like he's just pretty consistent, good upside, looks great.
So you don't think the
Well, what
I
about just
think
keep it? Hall only makes $2 million. Can't you keep him and still add? I guess only $2 million's not.
Listen,
zero.
I'm talking about starting 6 defensemen in the playoffs.
Yep.
And like, would you feel a lot more comfortable if you got Hall out and if Klingberg's playing well and available for a first rounder? Would you not feel better about Klingberg in than Hall in?
Yeah, but I still want Klingberg in, and then I want Hall with Liljegren or Sandin. I don't know.
And Sandin
watching.
is watching?
I don't know. Yeah,
you're just telling me how great he is on the power play.
You got to use 9 guys.
You just told me how good he is on the power play. Maybe you need him on a back end here. Who's your power play guy?
Is it him and Liljegren then? Hall and Liljegren, who's in?
You just told me how great he is on the power play, how much better he is than Morgan Riley.
Well,
That's what
I
you're
don't
telling
think
me.
he's how much better, but
Is he better than Morgan Riley? You just told me you like the power play look better.
I do, yeah.
Okay, now you want to sit him out?
Well, listen, it can be Liljegren and not Sandin who does the sitting out, but I'm also not 100% sold. I need some sample here on Sandin and that power play before I say.
Okay.
I'm sold on him in the power play. I don't think I'll ever want Riley back in the power play.
All right, hold on though. Where's he going with this? Who you want Klingberg in?
I'd rather upgrade one guy. I'd rather have one more.
I agree. They need one more.
One more. Like, and I've said it before. You need 7, 8, 9 guys. If in fact,
love Jordy Ben as your 7th guy.
If in fact they look like they have a few of those guys that can step in, can Jordy Ben do what Luke Shen did for Tampa Bay, and obviously stay healthy, hopefully.
Right.
But outside of that, I think they need to upgrade with one more guy, and someone's going to have to come out, like you said, Sandin, Liljegren, or Hall.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure I want all 3 of them together starting the Stanley Cup playoffs. But
all right,
we're a ways away, but just food for thought.
Yeah, and great. I like that take in terms of it's a take.
But now we're talking about the playoff roster in November. But I think it's
all we should be talking about.
But there's how many locks on the team? There's a lot of locks. I guess Hall would be the only guy that you would consider upgrading. Like, you're not are you taking out obviously Riley Brody, both locks. Giordano, lock. Right? Sandin, not a lock. Liljegren, for me, lock. Hall, it's a good problem to have. They seem to have some depth.
The guy's playing 22 minutes a night. Sandin's playing 22 minutes a night. So what? To lead him towards, sitting him out?
I like that you like Sandin.
I like him a lot better. I think he's calmed down. Mm-hmm. They're less excited in their own zone.
When he was with the Marlies, their greatest praise for him was that he'll take the simple option. Like, I think initially Liljegren, more skilled, would look to do too much sometimes. Sandin, like, if he had a guy, he'd give it to him. He wouldn't overthink it, right? And that's something he needs to keep a part of his game, where you see it, you can do it. Just grab it. So, yeah, simple. I like it. We got a whole team defensive discipline clip as well. If we want to, one of the reasons these guys look so good is I think that the forwards have helped them out there a little bit. Why don't we have Sheldon Keefe talk about defensive discipline?
Yeah, that's what I would say is discipline to the structure. I think we haven't been perfect with our decisions with the puck, but for the most part we've made good decisions there. But just our commitment to come back to our end and fill the middle of the rink. Their first goal, they get in behind us a little bit there, but for the most part they're not in behind us. We're above the puck a lot and clocking things up to the neutral zone, forcing them to dump it in. And if they do get entries, we're denying the middle of the rink pretty well as a team. D-zone coverage, just clogging the middle of the rink. All those things the guys have adhered to pretty consistently. And like I said, it gives you a chance to win every game, especially with the goaltending that we've been getting. And then we've got good players that can capitalize.
They're buying in. And I got to give Sheldon Keefe full credit. And even Kyle Dubas, when it was really hairy, and the one time we heard from Kyle Dubas, he said, I don't know if you guys remember this, he said, Sheldon does his best work, when things get, sometimes a little
hairy.
A little hairy.
Yeah.
And they're buying in right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting too, because we had many shows here in the wake of elite player gate when he was walking back comments. The team's 4-4. They're losing to Anaheim and San Jose and Montreal and Arizona. Like, we had Keith Hot Seat week here, whether we called it that or not.
They had tough nights.
But
They had tough nights, all right.
It's just par for the course, guys. It is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're following a lot with the New York Rangers right now, but they're having the same conversations down there now with Gerard.
They are,
Come on.
eh? Well, I know they're skimming along. Like, I had high expectations for them. I think they've been really unlucky. I like their roster, but yeah.
But that's what happens when there's really high expectations
Good team to bet on, by the
and
way.
teams underdeliver.
Yeah.
So, but seems like a distant memory right now, at least going into December, going into Christmas. Things have certainly settled down, and they're banking points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's funny looking at the standings now. If you sort the league by points percentage, the Leafs are 5th in the NHL. That's insane to me, given what it was. But this is all kind of falling into a pattern that was the same as last year. What was there? They went 15-2 over a stretch last season around now. I read something that, Marner started a little slow, Matthews a little slow last year too, before, kind of going on historic tears. Marner's beyond warmed up. He's on his, but Matthews feels like he's kind of warming up.
Yeah.
Not that you want to mirror last year's shape, but the positives from last year are reemerging, which is wonderful news for Leafs fans.
And this run comes off of, some tough injuries on a blue line. Let's listen to Sheldon Keefe talk about that.
Anytime you lose a guy, it stings and it sucks. And then you just get to work, whether you're a coach or a player, you got to press on. And whether you're a guy coming in the lineup or you're a guy that's playing more, in our case, if you're a forward, everybody just has to play better, play smarter, play more connected as a group, defend better, and then compete and find ways to win. So we've done that, and we've given ourselves chances to win each game. And when you do that, we're a good enough team that we're going to find our way on the right side of it.
What are your thoughts on an in-season adversity theory? Like how much you need to go through to help you in playoffs? Yeah. Some of the criticism about the Leafs had been nothing had gone wrong. Like the Canadian division, they just kind of won their way to whatever. Yeah. They lose once things start to get hard. You think about Tampa Bay the year they won the President's Trophy with 126 points. They blow a 3-0 lead in game one and never recover. Do you need to have gone through some things in the
Yeah, the answer is absolutely.
Okay.
It's there's great ways that you can draw off of 82 games in scenarios when you're down 3-2 or 2-1 or 3-1 in the playoffs, and the lessons learned throughout the regular season have to come into play. Yeah. And not only that, but for many of those guys, the Rileys, the Marners, it far exceeds just your last 82 games when you start the playoffs.
I was thinking
we're
that
going
too.
Back
previous
years,
postseasons,
and not getting overly excited, and learning how to close out games, learning how to manage the clock. Like I'm watching their third period, they've got leads.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're less excited. You don't need the 5th or 6th goal. Just manage the clock, and it can look boring at times.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, do you remember? I couldn't get over these stupid stretch passes in the first 3.5, 4 weeks where it was 40-foot passes only to blow up or not even get to a guy's stick, and then you've lost puck possession. Yeah. That stuff's been cleaned up.
It has been. Yeah, and I actually thought that last night too, that when it was 4-2, it felt like, okay, Detroit scored. Could it start to get frenzied on Detroit's side? But it never really got there. The Leafs kind of took care of business. Think about Vancouver. When Vancouver's had leads this year and starts to slip away, everyone starts to pucker up a little bit. And
well, the Leafs are the opposite of Vancouver. I think the Leafs have the most come from behind victories in the league. They're up high in that stat, and obviously the Canucks have blown the most two goal leads in the league by far. So,
and then just one more thought on that is that they're not giving up, bad goals or momentum sapping goals.
Good point. We haven't discussed Matt Murray and the goaltending. Murray, I think statistically, Woodley was on Bunkus' show the other day and said statistically he hasn't given up a bad goal this season, as in like one that shouldn't have gone in by whatever metrics they use. So no bad goals
Every
against.
game he looks bigger and bigger to me, by
I know.
the way.
He looked really solid.
He's putting a couple more pieces of wood in those shoulder pads. Just getting higher and higher.
Full square.
There are some people talking about that, eh?
About his gear?
How
Is it
big
me?
he looks.
I said it after the first game. I was
You
like,
did,
is this
eh?
guy's
6'11"
legal?
or something.
Yeah. Is this gear legal?
Yeah.
You think that's...
Don't worry about
You
it.
think
Keep
he's-
it down over there,
What are
right?
you
The Leafs
saying?
are working the edges this year.
Social media from Sportsnet. Can you clip that from Sammy and just tweet it out, please?
So,
Matt Murray cheating. Sammy McKee.
7 games played this year, won 5 of them. He's got a 2.44 goals against and a 9.27 save.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, like it's easy for me to contort myself to be like, yeah, I mean, guy won 2 Stanley Cups. He's under 30 years old.
Yeah.
I think we followed Jake B. Leafs, a good Twitter follow, mentioned like, not surprising that a guy who has had success, sucked with Ottawa, came back and got healthy is having success with Toronto behind a much better team. Should not be shocked by this.
What? So
I hope it has a better ending, but it almost feels like a little Jack Campbell-ish. Like this guy...
Why are you doing that?
Ah,
What?
No. He's
Yeah,
now on
just
a
move
run.
on.
He could end up in an all-star game.
Yeah. Good point.
hope he skips it.
It has that type of feel.
Oh no, is this your last year?
So let
and
me-
every season prior?
Let me ask you this then. So Ilya Samsonov was speaking at practice today. He said he was heading in the right direction. It seems that he's day to day, according to Keefe. They're going to assess it tomorrow. Now, I don't want to be Mr. Goalie controversy guy, but Samsonov, I mean, it's hard to remember now because it's been so long. But he was really good for the first bit of the season. He's coming back here. How are you handling this split?
He's going to get his starts, and we got to kind of look like. You think he'll be back by next week?
Well, apparently,
Is that the feel?
Well, his
Or is he
day-to-day
ready?
say
He
might
could
be
back
ready.
up tomorrow.
Wednesday
if he-
back up?
Maybe play. Who knows?
He's a 921 save percentage in 8 starts. Murray's 927 in 7 starts. Man, that's good. You know what else is crazy? League average save percentage right now in the NHL is 905. The lowest it's been, I don't know.
Would you sneak in Samsonov if he's healthy tomorrow night and then save Murray for Tampa Bay Saturday?
Absolutely.
If he's legitimate healthy, like you always want to give the guy a day or two more than he needs, but if he's able to go,
I mean, I might even sneak in
cleared.
Shalgren tomorrow if I'd consider it.
that's not a bad call. Like Shalgren has not. Well, he cost him a couple points this year.
Shalgren's
San Jose.
Yeah, he already lost to San Jose.
They've never played down to their opponents.
No, when does that happen?
Oh yeah, listen. Leafs haven't done
Coming back home
they
off a
haven't-
roadie against
they
a bad
haven't laid
team.
they haven't laid an egg in a while. Tomorrow night could be a classic egg
I
laying.
promise
scenario.
you, I'm betting on San Jose tomorrow.
You are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're
Oh
right.
yeah. Oh, it's going to be a dog game
Mitch
from the Leafs.
Marner going after to tie a record.
Yeah, he'll get his 1 assist and they'll lose 3-1.
No.
They were doing okay.
No, they're not losing to San Jose on Wednesday.
Yes, they are.
Cliff,
Hey, hold on.
Sportsnet.
Yeah, this is only
We do not agree.
unless they've changed. But the old Leafs would lose to San Jose tomorrow.
For sure. Coming back off a successful trip.
Just feeling themselves a little bit.
They're-
Media clippings.
Quickly before we go to break.
Carlton the Bear and
Although
that.
Kipper did trade Matthews today, so
Before we go to break, quickly, let's because we talked about the point streak there.
Fair.
Quickly, we just mentioned it. I want to listen to Marner getting asked about it today about the point streak.
Okay.
Oh, it was last night after the game, so let's play it.
But you're 1 game away from tying the team record. Does that sit with you at all?
This isn't going to stop, eh, boys? I mean, yeah, it's a hard league, man. I'm not expecting this every night, so it's just for me. I'm like I said the last couple days, I'm just trying to go out there and buzz and be myself and try and make plays out there, and it's been working. So just got to stick with that. My guys have been great finishing pucks for me and giving me the pucks that I've been lucky enough to score on as well. So. It's more important wins, and that's what we've been doing. That's why this feels great.
buzzing. Espresso infused Jolt Cola of a
Right.
player right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Finity and beyond.
It's also such a lie to be like, I'm not expecting this every night. Yes, you are. You are easily
Last night, he
It's
could
not
have.
to stop,
capable of
eh,
that.
boys? No, you better hope it doesn't stop.
Right.
That's a good one, not to stop.
If John Tavares scored last night on 4 of the opportunities, like Marner could have had 7 points last night. The amount of times he set up Tavares like 3 or 4 times.
I think there's a lot of nights, man, he could have 3 or 4 points.
last night especially.
Maple Leafs improved to 15-0-1 when Marner, Matthews, and Nylander all score in the same game. So, yeah, I mean, he scored 3 goals. That's a good start. But still, haven't lost when all 3 of them score in a game.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. In the second hour or two, Eric Francis, he's going to help us tee up Matthew Tkachuk back in Calgary. And then after the break, Mike Futa, we've had him on before. Sit back, grab a lawn chair, and listen to Mike Futa.
Futa, by the way.
Few?
Futa.
Foots.
Feuts.
Feuts. Utes.
Like the Utah Utes.
Isn't that, what was that movie with
Yeah.
my cousin Vinny?
That's right. 2 Utes. Yeah, that's right. My wife loves
Feuts
it.
after the break. You're listening and watching Real Kyper and Bourne.
Real Kyper and Bourne on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
All right, we're waiting on Futa.
Yep.
Mike Futa, former NHL executive with the Los Angeles Kings, helped build Stanley Cup teams.
Yes.
Going to get his thoughts on the Toronto Maple Leafs and some of the things that we talked about in the first block here, including what kind of look the Leafs may have. How long have I known you, Mike? Over 20 years, and Justin tells me it's not Futa, it's Futa.
Well, but if you're that good of friends, you just let guys get away with stuff like that. D. Lombardi's been calling me for 15 years. When I crossed the border, it changed dramatically, but it's all good, Kyper. It's all good.
I took my dad once to an NHLPA event, and we're playing golf with Baumgartner. And I don't know what my dad was calling him. Something completely else, and I didn't notice it till the 18th hole.
Yeah.
I'm like, Bomber, like, what's he calling you? He goes, I don't know, but I didn't have the heart to tell him.
Just letting him go for 17 holes.
Oh, man, that's great. That is awesome.
I hope you're rip-roaring to go. Last time we had you on, man, you were on fire. Fuego.
I'm you know what?
You're already sounding way too calm for me.
Well, my daughter just passed her. My daughter passed her driver's license test today, so I just had a wonderful father-daughter chat. So I've got to get out of dev mode and get into Red Bull mode.
Wow.
Well, here's the question: What are you buying her, Futa?
Yes.
I'm getting a license plate that says Futa.
Good start. Good start. Let's talk. The turnaround for the Toronto Maple Leafs, a great finish to November, particularly defensively. What have you seen out of the Leafs that has been most impressive on their turnaround?
Team defense, a commitment to playing defense as a unit. I think when they're at their worst, they're blowing the zone a little bit too early and cheating for offense, and it's fun to watch. And with the talent they have, you're certainly in an 82-game schedule. You want to see that, but I think based off their performance last year and wanting to have improvement, I think Sheldon walked it back after game 2, and I think he was a little bit upset with himself the way that was handled. And I think since then he's been firing on cylinders. I think he's said, if I'm basically going to lose my job here, I'm doing it my way. And I think he's been exceptional. But Mitch Marner, and I don't need to tell you, Kyper, but I've always admired Mitch Marner as a player. He is taking it to another level of play, and both ends. I mean, like that when he stripped the puck off of Dougie Hamilton in Jersey and just basically flew him away, and then on one knee threw it out front, like that's been some big boys that he's doing that. And I can only talk so much about Mark Giordano, but right now Mark Giordano is looking, instead of a guy that took a hometown discount, and Kyle Dubas should be putting flower wreaths in his stall for that, because he's playing like a $4 million defenseman right now. But it's like found his passion there. And I said, it's been unfortunate because a lot of different Leafs have come back late in their careers and they've been great teammates and stuff. But like Spezza or Thornton or Marlowe, and they come back home and you don't really get the great Hall of Fame kind of player that they did in a throughout career. But right now you are getting vintage Mark Giordano, blocking shots, actually to a point that I'm like a little concerned about how he's going to hold up through all this, because the heart is still 22, but the body is all in great shape. Right. It's just he's just dropping in front of everything. And I talked to him last year, and he was like, felt he was at the end of his rope. He was lost so much confidence in Seattle. He couldn't find any structure they were played there. He was playing, even for him to say he was playing way too many minutes, first unit power play, first unit penalty kill, and the results were so diminished. And now he just seems to have slotted into a role. And with the injuries out, I mean, he's been awesome. And I mean, even like they were booing Justin Hall, and for some time off the ice for weeks. And now, these guys have really looked steady. And who ever thought they could have done it all without Jordy Ben too?
Yeah, they're surviving in the absence of Jordy Ben. So when you watch this team play, and the goal is not to make the playoffs or to win a playoff round, the goal is to win a Stanley Cup. You're the GM. Where's your priority to add to this group here? I know that some people have said that, Kyper and I have talked about the left wing position. Some people think defense. Where do you see is the most pressing need?
Well, you guys discussed it before, and the perfect type player, and I mean, I had kind of had a little bit insider information on the fact that he had turned down a trade to Winnipeg, but a player like a Manson, that type of player, I think is going to be critical for them in the playoffs. I don't think you need. I would stay far away from a Klingberg type player who I think is an absolute mess in his own zone. Although he's he's offensively gifted, I don't think that's what they need. And then I'd try and get I guess he's a player. The problem is, and we talked about this the other day, is you got to find a dance partner. And there's so much parity in this league that it's easy to say, okay, Anaheim's out of it, so of course you're going to talk about Klingberg, or certainly Columbus is out of it, so Gavrikov. But there's going to be some teams here that just have such a different expectation. It's not going to be that easy to find the right type of defenseman. And ideally, it's a right shot. I know there's a lot of talk about Jacob Chicken. I think you're going to have a big trouble trying the pieces that they're going to want out of your lineup might throw off your dynamics. So I think that's a hard trade for someone like Toronto to make. But again, and then I think I'd try and find a character type player, bottom six guy that's not going to blow your bank. Somebody said it yesterday, the kind of rule that like a Corey Perry has played for teams down the stretch, where just a veteran guy that whether he's dying to win his last cup, unfortunately, in my opinion, I want Wayne Simmons to be that player. I don't know whether he can anymore because he plays the right way. He obviously, Sheldon doesn't have as much confidence in him as he once did, but that type of player that maybe can fringe up on your second line, but ideally is, going to be a top playoff performer. Like when you see teams add like a Barclay Goodrow and stuff like that, it's a big body presence. That's just going to be able to stand the wear. And I talked about having been on the plane and Kyper, you've won a cup. You see these guys, like you get to the third or fourth round in the plane, guys are carrying like intravenous units down. There's ice packs everywhere. And like you just said, Bourne, this team is not being, for a team that hasn't won a round, they're being talked about as Stanley Cup champions, and that's a grind. So you got to have some big bodies that are prepared for that grind.
We're joined by Mike Futa, former NHL executive with the LA Kings Stanley Cup run. I want to ask you, just in terms of the process for you as a management team, to know a team may be close, and you've experienced this obviously with the LA Kings, and the process of what you think you have in October and November, and the ability for certain players to change your mind. How often has it happened in the past, or are you locked in? And I'm only using this because we had a conversation, Futes, on Justin Hall, and if you envision him in your top six when it's all said and done, and still maybe look at Liljegren and Sandin as well in the lineup, or do you just say, no matter what this guy does from here on in, I've made up my mind, we're going to upgrade here?
Kyper, it all depends on your personnel and your belief. It's clear that they love him. Internally, they love him, and they don't see an issue with him. I would, looking back, and we were always looking for an upgrade on that position. And again, this small bubble, he's been outstanding, but in some tight situations, he's struggled. Now, they might feel that he's going to be able to get through this. He is a right shot D, which they don't have a lot of. But I think there's always that look for improvement. And when you get to a certain point, like we've gone through our, get beat out, learn your tough lessons, and then we look at put our team up, and the 1 year we felt we were ready to start run, and we went and traded for Mike Richards. And Mike Richards cost us Braden Shen, Wayne Simmons, and a second-round pick. Mm-hmm. And so he also got us 2 Stanley Cups before he kind of fell off the rails a little bit. But you were getting the real deal with regards to, you knew your compete level was going to now be taken to another level. And, you're going to have a Josh penalty killer that has got an ultra maniac competitive level. And then the following Cup run, we were just really worried about somebody that could fire the big goal scorer, and Marian Gaborik happened to be available, right? So we were very specific about what we were looking for and what we felt was going to put us over the top. Now, our problem there, Gabby ended up scoring like 18 goals in the playoffs, and then he took us to the cleaners on a contract. We should have just let him.
Yeah.
He said he was sitting in the dressing room giving Dean the show me the money sign, and we should have shown him the exit. And I love Marian Gaborik, but Marian Gaborik in a contract year is a dangerous thing because you get the best version, and then as soon as the contract's signed, if you get a little nick on the fender, they said, "Well, the Lamborghini's going back in the garage." But
that's funny.
I just think. What do you think? I think they need a grind. I think they need a big right shot D that can eat some minutes and play give him some grit and sandpaper. And I'd love to see an upgrade on Bunting. I like him. I just don't think. And I think if he's ideally on your third line,
You're laughing,
that to me looks Stanley Cup. That's a little bit more of a Stanley Cup look to it than when he's up high in the lineup. And it's not. I mean, I love his compete. I find he's getting exposed a little bit this year for this. He does have to remind himself that this is his second year in the league, not his 15th. Like last night, I don't know whether I heard the right thing, but there was a little volume deficiency in the Detroit game, and he just laid into an official.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me, kid? Like, this is not. You're not. This is not going to bode well for your future in the style you play if you're going to try and embarrass officials like that.
And it's not just that official; it's every official watching or getting a clip of that.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Because they stick together, right?
Oh, 100%. Even when they retire, they stick together. And even to a point that, I mean, I've heard stories of when the guys go in, like when Bill McCreary and stuff, when they go in to do the little talks with coaches and managers and stuff, like they know they've had great careers. He's a Hall of Famer. You got to treat them with respect. And if you give off sometimes that arrogance, they know that, and they pass it down to the field soldiers that are in the office. And it's not that they're going to go out and try and screw you, but they're definitely not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I found you said it, like, as you kept early in the year, and I've now watched for it, is that when he does that, when he draws a penalty and goes down on one knee and like grabs his nose like he's cut all the time and takes a knee, and then the ref has to come over and see if he's I haven't seen him bleeding yet, but it's almost like a given that that's going to happen. And it catches up with them. So there's time that they don't give him that break, and he competes so hard that you want him to draw penalties, but that's not the group that you want to rub the wrong way, and especially in year two.
Yeah. We're talking quite a bit about the forwards, the D, and what they need. Obviously, the goaltending is something of interest as well. I would say going into the season, Kyper, you and I talked a little bit about this, where it was like, you'll see what you get from Murray and Samsonov, but you're certainly not looking to improve. We didn't know what they would look like, but there was a chance that this was the best they could do in the offseason, and they'd survey the landscape as the year went on. At this point, do you think they should just live and die with Murray and Samsonov? And I mean, maybe that's their only option? I don't know, Futa.
Well, I think it's the ultimate sword they're going to either, and I mean, I don't have the answer because even internally, I don't like. If you were to start the season, okay, Murray gets injured, and all of a sudden Samsonov is the guy. Everybody forgot Murray existed. He's a Band-Aid. He's injured all the time. Thank God we have Samsonov. Now it's like the only thing missing on Murray is the red cape and the kryptonite coming near the dresser. And it's good for them to have those options. And the team obviously believes in him, but there is that thing in the back of your head that, one, the injury bug, their durability, and secondly, they've both shown the ability to go on long streaks of cold, to go with the heat that they bring. And now, obviously, right now, the way the team's playing, it looks great on Murray. I mean, whatever, they're analyzing and moving posts off, etc. But he looks calm. He looks big. They've carried him through Samsonov, but Samsonov's probably getting back shortly, I would imagine here. But I don't know what else is out there in a sense of the cap space they have in the areas they need to address. It's almost you've got to hope. And I used to talk to the guys in Ottawa about Murray. It wasn't that they didn't think he was capable of playing well. It's that they literally would sit there with their fingers crossed every morning skate that he was going to make it through and be available that night. And that's a terrible feeling when you're a coach. Now, it's a great feeling when the team's playing as well and as hard as they are right now. But again, over an 82-game schedule, the one thing you can't have is a cold patch, a long existing cold patch. We see teams fall right out of it because of inconsistencies in net. And they've made their bet as far as their goaltending situation. I would be shocked unless there was an injury to one of their two, Murray or Samsonov, if they even think about going in an outside market to upgrade a net.
Futa, a lot of the conversation before the season started was the fact that it didn't appear that Kyle Dubas had a lot in the cupboards left, either to trade for or prospects. Yet we've seen Holmberg come in and do a decent job. This Hollowell comes in and just makes sure that there's no leaking in the boat. And where is the thought of Matthew Knies as being maybe almost like a trade deadline pickup if he can come in and be a heavier, bunting for you? Is that still a long shot at best that college kids can come in and be impactful, or is there a chance of this happening?
Well, that's a great question, Kyper, and he, for me, is the only A-plus prospect. And it's not a knock, but again, if you're a general manager coming in and watching these guys play that are coming up in little bits and pieces and look decent, they're good players, but they're not. I'm not leaving with like, oh my God, I got to have one of those, right? They are doing exactly what you said, Phil Holtz. Now, this Nice kid, he gave me my 3 best live viewings of any college player, and I felt that he was going to come out. I mean, obviously the whole team stuck together because they want to try and take another shot at the championship. But just his physical size and his ability to skate, if there is a player in college, we got to remember too, it's not like I remember the year that when Kitchener Rangers and the London Knights beat out Mike Richards and Jeff Carter came into Philadelphia as 18 or 19-year-olds and jumped right in. I mean, they won the Calder Cup and then they were ready to go right away as 18 or 19-year-olds. These kids are a little bit older, right? The college kids. And when you see this kid, it's going to be an adjustment for anybody. But if there's a kid that can make it interesting, it wouldn't surprise me. And his upside for me is much greater than Bunting's in the long run. Again, it's just the time you got to put in. But if there's any kid, and I don't know him as a person about whether he certainly plays a mentally tough game, and it's college, it's obviously different. You've got to see with any of those kids what's it like when the cage comes off, because he likes to throw his weight around. And on an Olympic ice surface, that's great. Is it a little, will it change? I don't know when the cage comes off and he's got, guys with beards standing around spitting venom at him. But this kid is a special hockey player who I think has the ability. He'd be the first player if whenever they talk about like a Chikrin or a big name or a Dumba or insert name here, or whatever it was, like a Josh Manson. But I would not even pick up the phone unless Kyle was ready to talk about moving Nice. That's what I feel about him as a player. And clearly, like Robertson, like this kid scores goals, right? But it's hard to convince people when he's not good enough to be consistently in your lineup that he's going to be the answer somewhere else.
Right.
Now, he very well, he maybe he is. But that being said, it's like those conversations on the phone are like, well, we can't even, your coach, you're dead. You've got all these injuries and you can't even find a spot for him in your own lineup. Why is he the key shiny piece you want to send me for a proven NHL player? It's kind of getting on the same page. Like I was thinking about tonight, like Tkachuk, it's like, Brad Trelving spends the whole summer, or a 2-week period that just seems he didn't say I won the summer, but that was like, wow, did he come out of that? And then he wraps it up with 8-year contracts, puts up the welcome mat, and you open the door and there's a pit bull staring at you named Daryl Sutter. And it's like, you've got to have that comfort level with your coach believing in the players and giving you that kind of, if you're trying to promote somebody and move somebody, give them an opportunity and put them in a place you can succeed. So at least the asset looks shiny when people are coming in to watch.
What's more nerve-wracking for you, a Game 7 or getting in a car with your daughter right now?
Kyper, that's a very good analogy. First of all, getting in the car with my daughter is an absolute pleasure and a joy. She likes to sing to herself. So I found Dean Lombardi never really sang beside me in a Game 7. So we literally, the only Game 7, it was our 2014. We won 3 of them on the road.
That's right.
And including the double OT Martinez in Chicago. And I'll tell you, the feeling in the pit in my stomach was
gross,
than watching my daughter not turn the right-hand signal on in an open parking lot at Barrie Molson Center.
There you go. Hey, Futs, great stuff today, man. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Kyper. Kipper. See you, Bourne.
Yeah, thanks, Futes. Good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. I like the stuff on Nyes as well. Yeah, it's everything that I hear. There's a big swing on Nyes being
On opinion.
untouchable.
Oh.
To I'd throw him out there for the right guy.
I'll be honest, I haven't followed up on his season so far. I got to dig in because it is interesting. What would be? You could come in March, probably April.
No, March, I think.
March, yeah.
Yeah, latter. It all depends on how far they go, right?
Right.
We're talking about.
He wants to win a national championship. That's why he's back this year, not trying to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the NHL and win a Stanley Cup. I know Sammy loves that. Loves when guys return to college.
Listen, if they're offering something that's going to help them, like on the left wing on the second line, it's going to shoot in the net a lot, and they want Matthew Nyes, I'm going to include it.
I think the idea is that's supposed to be him.
Yeah,
That's
but
supposed to be him.
okay, it's too much to ask. Sorry,
Well,
boys.
it is, but
Way too much
you're
to ask.
you're gonna have a number of games to really assess that too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Matthew Nyes comes in and
there's only
scores from that position.
upside.
Yeah.
There's only upside. He's gonna sign. He's turning pro. We know that. A lot of people, the Leafs were hoping it was going to be last year.
Yeah.
The championship game for NCAA is April 8th.
April 8th. Thanks, Brando.
Yeah. So that takes
hopefully
you,
they're out before
and
then.
the season's over. What? April 16, April 12.
Oh, the NHL season?
Yeah.
Yeah, around that. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be back. It is heartbreaking to think like the Leafs losing Game 7 by a goal. Could he have helped it all
He wouldn't
last
be
year?
the first guy to score his first NHL goal in a playoff game.
I think Cale Makar did. He's done okay. His career's panned out just fine.
Man, I'm just
Sportsnet, PR, social media. Matthew Nyes will be as good as
Cale
Cale
Makar.
Makar. That was Justin Bourne.
At
Go with
JT
it.
Bourne _SN on Instagram.
Go with it, Fabs.
I was just looking back to that first cup that the second one actually was more the Cinderella Cup for them, kind of the Kings.
Oh yeah,
I was just looking back at their games.
I forgot about Gaborik.
God, they had some sweaty games. Like
Yeah.
this series against
That was a disaster re-sign, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
right from the get-go.
That's one of the better lines we've had from a guest on our show. He was giving me the show me the money sign. We should have shown him the exit.
Yeah. So against they played the Blackhawks in the conference finals. They won in 7 games, like he was mentioning. The last 3 games were all 1-goal games. The one that the Chicago one went to OT, and they won the series in OT against the Blackhawks in Game 7.
Yeah, the Kings made the playoffs as an 8 seed, right? Like
Yeah. And they beat
snuck in.
Vancouver.
Good Vancouver too.
Yes.
Really good Vancouver.
It does sound like we're going to see Nick Robertson tomorrow night. Does it not?
He's in
He's in.
Mulligan's
He's in
spot.
already?
You know why Mulligan's not in? Do you see him pull shoot on a
Buddy,
forecheck
I
up
saw
4-2?
that.
Oh,
I saw that.
you're first to the puck by a body length.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up because I'm watching it going, did he think it was icing? Did he he was like Futz's daughter putting the left turn signal on and leaving the lane, right? Too much traffic here. Let's move to the left lane.
He did not want to take that hit. Up 2 goals, hold it on the
can't
yellow.
show that
No, when you're
in
on the fourth
November
line.
and think like I'm counting on you in April.
Right.
I thought that was over for him.
Yeah, he was so good for a bit and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, well, now Robertson gets another chance.
I saw the same play, and as soon as it happened, I was like, "Oh God, Kipper's gonna be pissed." Like I legitimately had that thought to myself.
You know what blew my mind last night, and I looked this up because it kind of, I don't know, whatever I thought of it as after that play. He has played as many games in the NHL as Justin Hall, or just about. He's got the 210 NHL games for Dennis Mulligan. Hall's at 230, 220.
And are the majority in Florida? Where are they?
Yeah, Florida. I think all the rest are in Florida. But he's played a lot of hockey in the NHL.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was shouldn't be surprised that he's able to play in the league, but stuff like that's got to cut that out of your game.
All right. We got Eric Francis, senior columnist with Sportsnet. He's coming up after the break. We're going to get right into Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, man.
Did you see his gesture after his goal last night?
Gave it who's the wrestler? I don't even know.
Tkachuk.
There it is.
What actor was that?
Gilbert Gottfried.
There you go.
Just
God rest his soul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to ask Eric Francis if we're going to see that same gesture in Calgary.
No chance.
Oh, Let's ask Eric Francis after the break. You're watching and listening to Real Kyper and Bourne on the YouTube channel and Sportsnet now.
real Kyper and Bourne on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Nine games on tap tonight. None bigger. Florida Panthers in Calgary, which means when Matthew Tkachuk returns to the scene of the crime.
What kind of response are we going to get tonight?
I was hoping to ask Eric Francis.
Oh, yeah, let's pass the buck on that.
Move this man!
What do you think off the top? Video tribute?
Yes, for sure.
Video tribute.
I'd say mixed reviews. A little of both.
Okay, so where is the video tribute? Is it like halfway through the first period? Is it at the beginning?
First
before
stoppage
puck
of
drop?
play.
I would do it. Well, let's ask Eric Francis.
Okay.
He joins us, senior columnist with Sportsnet. Eric, thanks for coming on. I know it's a big night there, so tell me what your thoughts are and the vibe right now.
Well, first of all, Kyper, I love where you're going with that, and I think we're on the same wavelength. They better get that video out early. you know Matthew Tkachuk, and don't spoil a good moment. If that guy gets one face wash in, this crowd will turn on him instantly. So I think in terms of your question, the vibe is, it's somewhat mixed, but I'd say I think 80% of the people are going to give him a huge, great standing ovation. I think there'll be some boos in there, but I guarantee by night's end, it'll be all boos.
I love that. I love that there will be an inevitable progression just because you kind of know what the player is all about. How do fans there feel? If you're just running into someone at the grocery store, how do they feel about Tkachuk?
It's funny how time heals, right? I mean, when he left, everyone was so stung by Johnny Gaudreau, leaving the Flames at the altar, that everyone was like, wow, at least Matthew did it the right way.
Right.
He broke up with us with respect. He gave us the ring back, and that sort of breakup. Yeah. But at the end of the day, breakups are breakups, and they have inevitably, you look back and you're sour. So I would say the average person at the grocery store right now is like, man, I really want to watch that game. I really want to see how long it takes for him to turn the crowd against him, because there's 30 other rinks in the league who hate his guts. Why should Calgary be any different? I know for years they loved him, and with good reason. I think he's an absolute unicorn in the NHL, but all good things must come to an end.
Your thoughts when you saw the hand gesture to the Oiler fans off his goal, and he wouldn't dare try that tonight, would he?
I don't think so. I don't think he would. I mean, I think he still has so much respect for this city, the fans. I would be shocked if he did something like that. Now, if he scores an overtime winner, I'm not sure the emotion in him would allow him to refrain from doing something like that. I don't know. He loves this city. There was never any question about that. I mean, he had 6 phenomenal years here. Organization treated him like gold, as did the city and the fans. I think I actually am really thinking he's not going to pull any of his antics. To be honest, guys, I think he wants, I've talked to him about this. I think he wants to be known more as a Brad Marchand 2.0 as opposed to Brad Marchand kissy face or licky face, whatever it was, like he wants to be known for the 104 points he got last season. Matthew Tkachuk is a top 10, 15 scorer in the National Hockey League. He was last year. He was this year. I actually saw a stat in the calendar year of 2022. Only one player has more points than him, and that's Connor McDavid. And I think it's only like 2 points. So in the calendar year, he's arguably, a top 2 or 3 scorer in the National Hockey League. So the antics have been few and far between over the last year and a half, but we always just remember him because we know he's got that capability deep down inside to sometimes you just can't resist.
Okay, I get it, and he wants to be known as a 100-point guy and a skilled guy, and they've got that in Huberdeau. But I will say this, that Calgary isn't where they needed to be. It was built up, and listen, everybody was giving Tree Living Executive of the Year for being able to turn such a negative into a positive. Yet I'm watching this Calgary team this year at 9-9, I think, and dare I say it, they miss him. And do we just go back, Eric, and understand how special that line was last year with him and Johnny Hockey and Lindholm and how good they were, but the element outside of the skill of a 100-point guy was that intangible that he brought with his I don't know what he's going to do to me next feel.
Yeah.
Do they miss him? Do they miss him?
Oh my God, huge. They miss Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, huge. And what team in the National Hockey League wouldn't miss having the number one line in hockey? Period. Like you take the number one line in hockey and you disband it, and you only have one guy left, and he can't seem to fit in with any of the other. And you got nothing. This team is struggling right now to score goals. Like I think they're 24th in the league in goals scored. I figured they'd be about 15th to 20th. I knew there'd be a huge drop off. Last year they were 6th, and it was all on the power of that one line. So hey Kipper, you know, and Bourne, you know too. Like in an average NHL season, if you've got the number one line in hockey, they could probably win you 30 games just all by themselves. Like on nights when the rest of the team is junk, those guys just show up, get their 6 or 7 points between them, and win the game all by themselves.
Right.
Now the Flames don't even have one single top line, let alone having a formidable line at all. They're struggling with chemistry from top to bottom in this lineup. And to your point, Kipper, it's so true. 20 games ago, the way this team's looked at is completely different from the way this team is looked at now. It's a lot of things have fallen through.
Well, and so we focused a lot here on the absence of those guys. Give us the state of affairs of what's going on with the Flames. So obviously the problem is they're not getting goal scoring. That seems to be consensus. What else is happening with the Flames right now so people watching this game have a context on their season?
Well, the other thing that they're not really good at is stopping the puck, and when you
major issue.
Can't score that much, and you can't stop it that much, you're damn lucky to be 500 right now, to be honest.
Right.
Hey, we knew there'd be growing pains, but I don't think one of the growing pains anybody anticipated was that the goaltending would really struggle. And right now, like a week ago, they were the last in the league in team save percentage. Like I don't know if there's a more important stat out there for goaltenders, but to me, that is the most important one. And they're dead last in the league. Jacob Markstrom is really just not found his niche. He's had little spurts, but for the most part, his save percentage is under 900, and his goals against is over 3 guys. Like, that's not NHL caliber goaltending. And the funny thing was, when people looked at the Flames team, they said, okay, well, they lost a couple 40-goal scorers, but they're just going to win games 2-1 and 3-2. They've got that great blue line everybody's raving about. They've got those 3 great centers, as good as any team in the league, and they've got a Vezina finalist in net. Like, boy, this team's perfect to win 2-1 games. Well, guess what? They're leading the league and giving up the lead, too. They can't lock it down when they get a lead. So there's a lot going on right now. And if I'm sounding overly negative, it's because right now they are in a tailspin. But I don't think there's any question this team will get better, and a lot of these, the chemistry issues will be resolved. Jonathan Huberdeau will find his touch again. Markstrom will find his form again. But right now, it's a real struggle all around for this team.
Eric, where would this put Daryl Sutter going through this right now? At his best, or maybe at his worst? At his best.
That's such a good question. I feel for the guys in the room. We generally joke in the media that when he's being really nice to us in the media, he's being really, really hard on the players.
He's killing them.
He's just killing them. I can't imagine how horrible it is to be in that dressing room right now, dealing with the misery of a coach like that who, in the best of times, doesn't allow them to, enjoy wins or have fun. At the worst of times, I don't even want to go there about it. Kipper, you've talked to players around the league. I have. Bourne, you too. You guys know how legendary it is to be on a Daryl Sutter team when things are going sideways, and they're going sideways right now. So he's trying to keep a stiff upper lip and a brave face in the media, which tells me that he's just crushing these guys behind closed doors.
How about any positives for this team? What's gone well for the Flames so far this season? I know you mentioned it's in a tailspin, 3 straight losses here. There's some bright sides. Any shining spots for you?
Nikita Zadorov is playing like a top-line center in the national, or top-line defenseman. Sorry, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Their best defenseman by far.
Wow.
Sutter said it from day one. He's absolutely annihilating guys with his size and his physicality, which Sutter loves. And he's also contributing a little bit offensively. He's blocking shots with the best of them. 8 shots blocked the other day. So Nikita Zadorov is certainly a bright spot for this team. But, if your 5th defenseman is your bright spot, it says a lot about where you are right now. And Michael Backlund's been really, really good too, but just doesn't have a whole lot to show for it offensively. But defensively, he's been their best forward. I don't think there's any question.
And as far as Huberdeau is concerned, still the benefit of the doubt to get used to things. I don't know, the neighborhood. I have no idea. But where are they with Jonathan?
Well, it's -19 here today, and he's definitely not used to that in Florida for the last 10 years. So, hey, he's used to a million different things. Poor guy had to sell his Lambo, too, and trade it for a pickup truck. Like, there's so many different things that are really adversely affecting this guy right now. I think at the end of the day, I can't really put my finger on it because we haven't seen any semblance of the playmaking star that made him got up 115 points last year. I think it all boils down to the fact that he played on a team last year that basically plays shinny hockey. And with hockey, just go out and score as many goals, and hopefully we can stop more than we score. And here you're in a massive structured system where there are lanes and all these rules, and I think that just takes a long time for him and Mackenzie Weegar to get used to. They've talked about it openly, and they still quite don't have the hang of it. So that to me is the reason why. And plus, he's not playing with a Barkov anymore or Verhaeghe or anything like that. He's playing with Tyler Toffoli. He's playing pretty well this year. I should say that too. He's been a pretty good start for them. But him and Elias Lindholm don't have any chemistry. So
yeah.
And don't forget the other thing, guys. He's been on the third line for the bulk of the last dozen games. Daryl Sutter, Jonathan Huberdeau playing on the third line. And a lot of people would think that that's a big mistake because it cuts down on the minutes he's playing. The more minutes he plays, the more chance he has to get comfortable and finally figure this system out.
The one thing that's outside of Huberdeau that I was curious about is how Kadri would look. He's got his first year of a 7-year, $7 million per season deal this season. He's the highest paid player in the team. Going through his numbers, he's no points in the last 5 games and playing 16 minutes a night. What's going on with Kadri?
It's absolutely. I was just out having lunch and ran into some fans, and it's unanimous in this city. For the first 10 or 12 games, Nazem Kadri was even better than advertised. People could not believe it, saying, "Oh my God, that guy's going to get even more than the 87 points he got last year in Colorado. What a leader! Put the captaincy on him." Last 12 games or 11 games, whatever it's been, invisible, and not for lack of effort. Right. I got to give him credit. He's always out there. He's still great defensively, and he can always give you that. That's one thing Huberdeau can't give you that Kadri can. When things are struggling offensively, he'd still be an amazing second-line center, one of the best in the league. The offense is dried up completely. I think he's got 3 or 4 points in the last 12 games, something like that. It's not good enough. This team is needing goals more than anything, and he's part of the problem right now.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one more because I want to just revisit something that you said earlier, and I want Sammy and JB to know I would have asked you this even if I didn't go through this crap this morning on a morning show, and you don't need to concern yourself with that, Eric. But I would have asked you this anyway. When you said that Tkachuk didn't leave them at the altar, I want to know if he kind of reset the bar for UFA stars on doing that, or will we still see some play out their final year and slip away? Ooh.
I have no idea what happened to you in the moisture, but I'm going to kind of guess. On your morning show this summer, when I said to everybody, "Hey, Toronto, guess what? You're next.
Oh!
Am I right?
I'm just asking you if Tkachuk reset that whole thinking.
Okay, sorry. I think I to a degree, and since he's gone to Florida, I just saw him down there. His house is spectacular. He's living the absolute dream life that any NHL hockey player could ever want. Players are going to see that he decided to take a stand. Yeah, you take a few bullets at the beginning because you're leaving is really mad at you. But at the end of the day, you end up where you could be the happiest in a great city, in a great environment.
And
it's going to happen to Austin Matthews, but I'm just saying there's a real good chance it's going to happen to Austin Matthews.
Hey, and there's no Eric Francis or Mark Spector breathing down his neck. That's what they love, getting away from guys like you.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the speculation that we're throwing out there right now, and he was asked about it when he got to camp, and he basically said, he is David, I'm really happy here. This is my second home. Okay. Matthew Tkachuk at his final press conference of the year, and Johnny Gaudreau, by the way, both raved about this city, and now they were both absolutely interested in signing long-term deals to come back. I didn't expect an athlete to say anything other than that. You have to say that. But when push comes to shove, you follow your dream, and Matthew Tkachuk's dream was to go live where it's never minus 19.
Eric, always thankful for you to come on and share your insights, especially with a game like tonight. Thanks for doing this.
Cheers, boys. Enjoy the game. What's your prediction on when the first boos come out?
I think when the video comes, when the tribute video comes.
Yeah, no. I think in the first 5 minutes for sure.
First touch.
Yep. I hope so. I hope so. Anyways,
there's a long history of booing guys like Doughty, and every single time they touch the puck, it gets kind of annoying after a while. I guess that is a possibility. We'll see.
Thanks, Eric. We appreciate you, man.
Cheers, boys.
All right, Eric Francis. Yeah.
So I'm not going to blame you for the morning show bit, but you had to do it again on our show.
I would have done it for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just asking. Matthew Tkachuk is going back in.
I see the relevance.
There's relevance here.
For sure.
That's different.
Completely
different situation.
Do you think?
Oh, his
and this could be Matthews, this could be anybody going in. Do star players now owe their organization to be up front? Unlike Johnny Gaudreau and John Tavares with the Islanders.
They don't owe him anything.
All right.
They don't, right? You know what I think the players see? I think they see the NBA. And I think they see the player empowerment era. And I think they see guys making deals to play in a back hall and making it happen because they want to. And I think they think, why can't we have that?
I'm going to Sammy, superfan Sammy, and I'm going back. I'm going back there. I'm sorry. I'm going back there. July 1st, no contract for Austin Matthews. How concerned would you be to hear that we're going to take it slow and we're talking and we're good. We'll keep the lines of communication open. How good are you there?
How concerned was Colorado when he didn't sign on July 1st, Nathan McKinnon? It's just like it's a different situation. I understand, but it went into the preseason before he signed a contract. I'm not in panic mode. I'm thinking about it.
Okay,
but I don't like the comparison between Calgary. It's a completely different situation. This is the mecca of hockey. This is Toronto. You're the biggest star in the league.
I think there's certainly bigger risk for long-term reputational damage if you spurn Toronto versus
100%.
spurning. The Flames are still a big organization.
Yeah, but they're not
but
they ain't
guys.
the Leafs,
It's
boys.
Canada.
They ain't the Leafs. Come on, Kyper. I know you want to stir it up, but
that?
they're not even close to the Leafs in terms of relevance and what you can do off the ice.
Anything better than beating the Leafs?
That's irrelevant to their fan base in Calgary.
Yeah, but
and the season ticket holders, they don't give a crap.
No, but for Austin Matthews, considering his career, it is relevant that Toronto is Toronto.
Yes.
And making that decision is
but I'm
leaving
just
here
saying,
on good terms or staying here or whatever.
If he doesn't sign July 1st, you're still comfortable that he could sign at Christmas.
No one's going to be comfortable with that.
No.
But it also isn't doomsday, I don't think.
I agree. I am with that as
Until
well.
you hear that he does leave. right?
Right.
Then it's doomsday.
Yes.
Okay.
The day
that's
he
fair.
signs for another team is when I panic. I'll panic a little bit when he doesn't sign July 1st. But listen, I
wish we weren't doing this right now.
No, I 100% agree with that too. But
Sorry, but Tkachuk's going back into a place where he had the courtesy to tell them, I'm not going to string you along for the final year.
Right.
I want to leave, and I want to leave now.
Do you think Austin Matthews should do that now?
No, absolutely not. I'm just saying, if he does have the feel, should he do it July 1st for the Leafs?
A fair question. You know, and when we get there, in my opinion.
When we do the July 1st show, we could talk about it.
You know me, like I like to get ahead of everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it's coming. I know. I see the vehicles coming too. I think everyone sees it coming. But it's November.
And I don't think comparing Calgary and Toronto are the same thing. I just Kipper, you've been around this team your whole life.
I don't understand. Like it's just they've got their fan base. The Leafs have their fan base. It's the same.
No,
you don't believe that. You don't believe the Leafs and the Flames are equal.
In what, revenue? Of course not.
In terms of
what? In terms of what?
Marketing power,
popularity
brand,
around
popularity.
The league. That meant nothing to Matthew Tkachuk, and I don't think it means anything to Austin Matthews.
What? Yes, it does. Matthews is the number one guy who wants to be the big star in the big market. He's that guy.
Okay, then he's signing. End of story.
He signs. He wears the fanciest outfits. He wears he likes to be a superstar. He likes to be under the spotlight. To me,
at the very least, he would like to not be booed by Toronto every time.
I like Calgary.
Hated here.
If you feel that's important and that's a huge hook for him, then I buy that he'd stay on those circumstances.
100%. Good team, good organization.
He roped us into extrapolating it out and talking about it. He's doing it.
I don't mind. Listen,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm good for you to say, hey, listen, he's not going anywhere. He loves it here. He's going to make $2 million in endorsements.
Hey, hold on.
That's fine. I got no problem with that. You might be right.
Listen, I think there's a possibility that on July 1st or whatever we're talking about him, but I kind of bristle at the conversation I bristle at, and I've said it multiple times here, and I'll follow up one more time, is that Calgary signing for the Flames and Matthews signing for the Leafs are comparable situations. They're not comparable situations, in my opinion. The only thing that it is they're Canadian teams and they're American players. That's the only.
If you're
comparable.
hated by Calgary or hated by Toronto, it is different.
And I don't even think it's about the hatred. It's about the stardom.
Yeah.
Matthews loves being a superstar. There's nowhere he's going to sign. You can, go sign in LA, where you're going to be the 15th most popular. Russell Westbrook, they cared 10 times more about him. You won't even get mentioned on the radio in LA.
Yeah.
You're not going to be even close.
Sammy, I think
go play in a college barn in Arizona.
I think I'm watching A Few Good Men right now because you're making an argument. I like it. You're taking a stance. You're giving me reason to think that he's staying. I like it.
Yeah, I am. Listen, he's staying, boys. And I'm pissed off about it now. You did it, Kipper. You son of a...
Just knew it was coming today. And just vowed not to get.
The Leafs are red hot.
Matthew Tkachuk in Calgary tonight. I cannot wait.
Buddy, by the time we're having this conversation, I'll be able to go inside with my tarp off. It's not even winter yet. We're having this conversation. Oh, my God.
And you are steaming back there.
I'm hot.
I love it. All right, what else we got in the news? Somebody told me that Flyers and Islanders, I got a text, and all it said was, you're not going to want to miss the start of this one.
Do we have any backstory on why they might be angry at one another?
Yeah. Didn't they go at it the last time?
Well, I did see Wallstrom drag Tony DeAngelo around the rink by his lips the other night. That was fun.
So the two names I heard was Ross Johnson and Nick Delorier.
Oh, that's that's two Coke machines.
Here we go.
Yeah. I remember.
What do you think?
I mean, Ross Johnson's a big dude, but Delorier's got to be what? Is he the toughest guy in the league right now? McDermott?
Right up there.
Yeah. That's a heavyweight tilt. I just can't imagine being either of those guys and knowing the next game they got to get into that sort of thing. I remember sitting there with my dad at a pub and watching Dallas and Boston, I don't know, 10 years ago. Everyone dropped the gloves off the start. We haven't seen something like that in a long time. We're due.
Yeah, there's some bad blood tonight, so we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, as we mentioned, Calgary and Florida tonight.
Mm-hmm. How about Florida last night? They're up 4-3 with 9 seconds left and a face-off in their own end against the Oilers, and they lose. I mean, Florida's.
Did both teams lose that trade?
Well, I tell you what, that, there's some people that say that they're worse than last year, Calgary, and everybody said that they're deeper and they're better.
Florida lost so many guys, though. Like, yes, they're without Huberdeau. Yes, they're without Weegar. They're also without Marchment. They had Sherrod at one point. They had Giroux at one point. They had they had a half a dozen good players that just left. They're without 7 guys from last. They're a different team.
And when we heard about the trade, the first thing I thought was, like, Jonathan Huberdeau, where is he going to fall into the Daryl Sutter hockey? And we just heard from Eric moments ago talk about that whole, I don't know, what was the reference he used to Florida, like pickup hockey or shinny hockey? And I'm like, can't think of a guy that Daryl would want less than someone coming from a shinny hockey program.
Yeah, but guys like Daryl also like guys who score, and Huberdeau had 100 and some points last year. You would think he would be like, okay, Gaudreau did that for me. He can be the next Gaudreau.
He did it doing the East-West thing.
Gaudreau did. Or Huberdeau did.
Huberdeau did.
Yeah.
But that's not Daryl's north-south, man. He's not east-west.
Mm-hmm. You don't think he opens up his horizons a little bit based on his roster or what, allows guys to have success?
I don't know. I mean, it's not working right now.
No.
What's he have, 10 points?
Is it that bad? Yeah.
It is that. It's 10 points. 3 and 7.
Wow. Yeah. So, on the other hand, I think Tkachuk's just not enough. There's just not enough depth, and they're in tremendous cap issues.
Yeah.
And there's not enough there for him to make a difference on most nights right now.
Yeah, they're in tight. They're in tight to make playoffs this year for Florida. I think they're going to be 100-point team in and around, which barely get in last year at that.
Well, I think if we're saying who won that trade, it's still, if now seeing this sort of through however many games, 25 games, if you're grading it, I think you say Florida won now because they got the best player in the trade. And like you can, they have them for a long time and they can kind of build around that and figure stuff out. But
10.5 for Huberdeau for 8 years.
Kadri.
7 by 7. Yeah, they committed to
it. Trillivan got pretty horned up there in the summer.
I had to do something.
And Jonathan Huberdeau is at what, 11? 10
and a half starting next year, yeah.
Starting next year.
That might have been, like, I'm not sure a lot of teams would have gone north of 9.
Really?
Yes.
He was a Hart
personally
Trophy.
think that they were so PR mode on getting a new hero.
Yeah.
That I think that they overpaid maybe $1 million, $1.25 million a year on Jonathan. I think he could have got away with signing him 9 times 7.
What's interesting is I wonder if Huberdeau and them talked about numbers, and then he said, okay, I'm also leaving a no-tax state and whatever. You got to give me another 1 because I'm coming to Canada and committing to being here. And
yeah, you can ask.
You can ask. You don't have to give it. You're right.
Right.
He had 30 goals and 115 points last year.
Which is a record for left wingers, wasn't it?
Gigantic numbers. 85 assists.
85 assists.
Yeah,
that's Joe Thornton territory.
Yeah, that's great vision right there when you can do that.
Yep.
All right, we had a signing today, $8.45 million in Dallas. Rupe.
Hintz.
What do you think?
I think it's great. I love Rupe Hintz. This guy is awesome, even when he doesn't score. Fast, big, kills penalties, gets points. What else do you want? You like it?
6'3", 215, flying around.
Got to be a point per game.
Yeah, 24 points.
Mid-20s.
For me, it just reminds me of hearing Tage Lemieux in Buffalo sign his long-term deal, and you're like, first of all, is that a good bet?
Yeah.
Is he a star? Is he? I mean, that's usually your star players, and that's where the industry's going with those mid 25-year-olds, right? You got
roll the dice.
You have to hedge.
Yeah.
On the future, and did you not all think that Tage was overpaid off one 30-goal season? And now it's looking like a steal.
I know.
For
They should pay him
Buffalo.
more. They should pay him
That
more.
goal last night I sent to you
Oh,
guys.
my
was
God.
just long and Lemieux's not a bad
Give
assessment.
Kevin Adams full credit here for just knowing what he had or what he thought he had or how special that this guy can be.
Yeah.
And like those are sick hands all season long.
Yeah.
Like those are human highlight reel goals that are coming at a fairly decent rate.
It's actually, he's getting to the point where you go, where is he in the league-wide conversation of superstars? Of like, if, I always use the example, if you put every player in the league in the middle and let GM start picking one by one, how soon does Thompson go? First rounder. He goes in the top 30 guys, I think. I mean, he is, to me, he's elite scorer, huge, young.
For All-Star break show, we'll do that.
I like that.
You like that idea?
All the players in a pile.
We all pick a starting lineup.
All right.
Rupe
Or
Hintz.
just have a draft.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
We'll have our own draft.
Rupe Hintz. I know I love Finnish players.
Yeah,
me
too.
I've always had a soft spot for the Finns. I really, really.
Ready.
I respect them. I revere them. I love the Finns. So getting a good scoring Finn like that, they're hard-nosed players. I love the Finns.
Very hard to make angry.
All right.
Really?
Yeah, well, in
not
my
on the
experience
ice.
as teammates.
Oh,
On
yeah.
the ice, they'll be, they're just easy going. Like the Swedes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, they are.
I think so. The guys I played with anyway were
it's
pretty.
the most excited
whatever.
Swede I played with. I don't know.
Very, very unexcitable.
That's good. You want that.
Remember Kelly Johansson?
Mhm.
Kelly Johansson? Like, he'd play 23 minutes. He'd take his equipment off. You know those Stanfield blue underwears? They're usually drenched.
Just waterlogged.
He'd have like a little dot in the middle of his chest. That was like, I'm like, you don't sweat. You don't get nervous.
Yeah.
You like Jägermeister.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, you live the perfect life, my friend.
My dad always blamed the Swedish players on his team for getting him into the chew, because he had the stall beside, he was between two Swedes and the Islanders, Anders Kaller, and I forget who the other guy was. But he said that they used to have like a little thing, almost like a little syringe thing. And it wasn't a syringe, but it was just like a thing you would pack into the snooze container. And it would pack a little one, and they would just like shoot it into the upper lip and leave it in all day. Guys would play with this thing, and it would just erode their upper lip until they had this pocket up there. My dad's been, chewing 40 years since or whatever it's been. But
we don't recommend you kids.
Filthy.
I forget who was.
Stay away from this stuff.
My dad said some guys would have like a pocket. Those guys that
Be a
went,
hole.
Yeah, like almost up to their eye. They just leave something up there all day. Just this big pocket.
Guys would tell me that you'd have to rotate the mouth.
Yeah, because it would like cut your lip.
And you'd have to heal it on that side, so you throw it on the left side of your gum for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah,
it's disgusting habit.
You see Kapanen out there.
And then
like
there's
he'll
always
play
like
with it in.
there's always like a bottle.
The packs now. They put it the packs.
There's always a bottle in the room that I'd accidentally spill.
Oh,
and
listen,
they
as a
just-
kid, I drank out of a couple Coke bottles. And I've had regrettable experiences, I can tell you.
Oh, I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah, not.
Disgusting.
Okay, let's change the subject,
Okay.
please. Okay. Do we have a goalie interference problem in the league?
No.
According to Connor Hellebuck.
You know what? If you want to talk about goalies, that amazes me. Is if you want to talk about the power of the Leafs and talk about Austin Matthews and why he wants to stay or whatever, the power of the Leafs. I've never heard more conversation about moorings.
Well, the net's coming off. Yeah.
There was a national referendum on moorings.
Kipper. You
Like,
tweeted a video.
Yeah, they're like, I've listened to Friedge on 32 Thoughts. He's like, yeah, they're digging around the league, talking about all the different ice crews and all this stuff. It's like,
I think I started that one too.
you did. You did.
Right?
You got a
But it
little
is-
pissed off about that.
There are a number of like varieties of ways to moor the net to where it is. And yeah, we got to have something a little stronger, do we not? Are we you're blaming the goalies?
Well, don't you remember a long time ago, a few players had their
Yes.
buttholes ripped out because the net wouldn't come off?
Yeah. That, I believe, was it Mark Howe?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was tough.
Like, I mean, it's a safety issue, and yet it's one that
No, it's got to come off. There's no doubt.
it has to come off on contact, but it's just looking a little too easy, in my opinion. And I know we've had this conversation where do you draw that line if it's a hard play? I mean, we've watched enough games to know what's a legit, slide over to stop a puck and what might be and
But the Hellebuck thing is different from that.
Well, he lost his helmet, right? And he wanted a whistle right away when
So
you
he's
lose
down
your
on the
helmet.
ice, no helmet. The other team has possession, and the refs are going, play on. And he's going, should I goaltend then with no helmet? What do you want from me here?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the NHL just basically told him, try to keep your helmet on and play on.
Well, that's...
I'm telling you, that's what they're telling him.
But they can't do that. I understand they are, but like that has to change.
I don't know.
And Connor did
I
want
don't
that
get
to
that
change.
sense right now that that they're really overly concerned about goaltenders right now.
Well, that's ridiculous.
They are like, we want offense. Okay, nobody wants to see a 1-0 game. That's what they're telling them.
Okay, well, I mean,
I'm just telling you.
It's just such a rarity that their helmets come off. And Hellebuck's point was that if a player has their helmet come off, they're allowed to finish the play, like that they're in, and then they have to get off the ice.
But this one went back to the point.
2 passes, ding, ding. They got time. They wind up a shot from the point. Like Hellebuck's like, at that point, it's not immediately following the play. You got to protect the human. In theory. Unless the league's just like, to hell with you guys, but.
I think in theory you're right.
Yeah.
But it's.
Do you think they should stop the play?
I think you gotta. Yeah, I'm okay with maybe a pass or 2, maybe 3.
Just tic-tac-toe, Harlem Globetrotters doing the weave out there. Yeah, to me, it's like if the goalie has his helmet off and has to decide whether to goaltend or not, let's flag this down before he makes the hard decision and wears one between the eyes.
I do gotta.
They played without him for 100 years.
With mad scrambles and who's got what chin strap, it might be easy to kind of knock a helmet off.
Well, that's the other risk, is I've played with a goalie who used to knock his own helmet off in scrums to get the refs to blow it down. You'd give it the old shruggaroo.
All right, fun show, Sammy.
Had a blast. Except the Matthews stuff.
You
got a good reaction on me, what you wanted, so mission accomplished, Kyper.
Way to go.
Stop it. I'm not clickbait, baby.
Oh, yeah. No,
the Sportsnet PR, social media PR. I didn't clip anything. I didn't put anything out on social media. I blame them.
All right.
Our thanks to Eric Francis.
Yeah.
Mike Futa. And, of course, this great team here at Real Kyper and Bourne. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Give us a rating and review. Thumbs up. We're back tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
From the City News 6 City Traffic Center, I'm Jasmine Graywell. If you are traveling eastbound on the 401, we're looking at a crash just east of Leslie in the Collectors, impacting the left lane, causing a slowdown from east of the 427 Express and Collectors. It's also busy westbound on the 401 from the 404 alternately in the Express and Collectors to Dixon, and slow from south of Pearson in the Collectors. The northbound DVP 404 is busy from Gardner to York Mills. The southbound 404 DVP is slow approaching Finch to the 401 ramps. Specsavers is now open at Fairview Mall in Toronto. Take advantage of a limited time offer of 2 pairs of glasses from $99. Conditions apply. See specsavers.ca.
Ooh, speedy scooter